Hi, Don. Here we are, beginning of February. Yesterday was Groundhog Day. They do that up in my neck of the woods here. I shoot them and grill them, uh, but out in Western Pennsylvania, they they apparently they keep them as pets and they use them to tell the weather. But he didn't see a shadow, so that means we're supposed to have an early spring. Well, we'll see. But last night, I stayed up late because the Super Bowl was on, and we had a gang of folks here to watch that. I got to say that I don't want to upset anybody, but I was pleased with the outcome. It was a good game in my view, but the Kansas City coach Andy Reid was a Philadelphia Eagles coach for a number of years, and even though he's not in Philadelphia anymore, he was well respected and he was well liked. And I know that he cares about his players. He's a good guy, and so I was kind of pleased to see him finally get his first Super Bowl ring. So, did you watch the game at all?
I did, and I like Coach Reed too, but it's for a totally different reason. He's an old guy.
Yeah.
And old guys need to have their day in the sun every now and then, and he's been toiling for a long time. But,
yeah,
I thought it was two really good, deserving teams and good competitive.
yeah.
Well, we got. What's your thoughts about the market over the last month? We've tolerated 1 month to start with. Any deep, dark thoughts?
Well, deep dark thoughts? No. Hang on a second. My phone's ringing, and it's an 800 number. I know it's a scam. Anyway, I've got some thoughts. It was interesting. My wife's niece lives not too far from us, and she's got two little boys who are just all boy. They're into hockey and they're into everything, they love building stuff with Legos. But anyway, they were over for lunch about a week and a half ago, and I went in and had a sandwich with them. And her husband was along, who's a great guy, and he said, "What do you think about the markets?" And well, at the time, the market was just ripping, just tearing. And he said, how long is this going to go? And I said, I can tell you that I can't tell you how long it's going to go, but I can tell you that there are a few things that could really bring this to a halt. One of them is a successful impeachment. If the president were taken out of office, uncertainty would enter the markets, and that would certainly take the wind out of the sails. Another thing was a nuclear Iran. If they were to get and test a nuclear device that could threaten half the world with a nuclear conflagration, then that would upset the world. And again, uncertainty. But more importantly, I think that the immediate stress factor for the market was what's going to happen with the Chinese coronavirus. At that time, and I'm kind of patting myself on the back here a little bit, because at that time, I think there were a few thousand cases, and they had quarantined one city. But I was concerned as I saw this thing growing, that if that thing becomes a pandemic, if it gets to the United States, if the United States can't contain it, if it begins to grow around the world, we begin to see more deaths, and we can begin to see, again, we're looking at uncertainty. We would have to shut down trade with China. We haven't shut down trade yet, but as of today, there are travel bans in place. We're not sending flights to China from many of our major airlines. And the flights that are coming into the U.S. Are few and far between, and they're being routed to major cities so that every individual passenger can be examined prior to, entering the U.S. What I think that means is, even though, today we're seeing a kind of a big upswing in the markets, that follows a big downswing in the markets. Almost
Yeah.
2% on Friday, just a few days ago, and that's not abnormal. It's reflective of the uncertainty that surrounds what's going to happen in the upcoming month. Today on Stone Barn Portfolios on our website, subscribers are getting allocations for the month of February. Some of the commentary there just talks about this possible pandemic is going to make the markets volatile. We haven't seen moves like this. I'm looking over to my side here because I'm looking at a screen. It has the market on it right now. The S&P's up a whole percent. The NASDAQ 100's up 1.5%. It's 11 o'clock in the morning.
I think that was the point that I think that's important, is that even Friday, with the markets down severely, our portfolio was down almost 0.5% less than that. And so I don't even know this, but we're probably 0.5% or more underperforming today. But net here, we're doing okay. This is what we bring with our portfolios is
That's right.
Volatility, containment, and participation to the upside. And over long periods of time, one of these 1 or 2% down days is going to be followed by another one and another one.
Mm-hmm.
And our body language will be a little bit like this. Right. And our portfolios are built to take that into consideration.
That's right.
Because we hadn't had too many of the follow-through days. And these are typical of what's going on. We will. And I just want to be sure we survive before we have success. And survival to me is pretty important. So,
anyway. Yeah, and when we look at the models, now the models are not real money. They're just a projection of what would happen if we traded on given days and held certain securities and rebalanced monthly. But we've have live money that we can compare to the models, and month to month, there's very few. There's only a few basis points of difference. That's because you and I are pretty religious about buying and selling on the days we're supposed to, and holding the allocations that we recommend, and so forth. So, and it turns out that there's one day the live account might be a little higher, the next day it might be a little lower, but on a week to week and a month to month basis, these things track really, really closely. The last time I looked was the end of last week, and I think we were about 3 or 4 basis points difference between the model and the live account for an entire year. So that's not bad.
In my case, I have differences between my Schwab account and my Fidelity account, and they hold exactly the same thing. And I hadn't figured it out. So
it depends. In fact, I'll tell you what. We're going to talk about this in about.
Yeah, we need to go into more depth with it.
Right, because there's lots of reasons that a live count can differ from a model, but the models themselves all really did well. Well, now it's your turn. Is it your wife? If it's your wife, you better answer that. So anyway, the models they all did better than the S&P. For the month. They did that. Must be important.
All right. Turn it off. I'm sorry. I should have.
No problem. Yeah, I got mine on over here too. But anyway, they all did as well or as better than the markets themselves, and they did it with a lot less volatility. We just didn't see the major swings, ups and downs. About half of the drawdown in any given day, and so. They're doing what they're supposed to do. And again, on our website, Stone Barn Portfolios, if you're a subscriber, you'll read the text today is kind of says what do you do in the period of uncertainty and greater volatility, and it's like, oh yeah, now I remember what we'll do. we'll use stone barn, portfolios, because these portfolios are mitigating the effect of that uncertainty by lowering the risk in the portfolio. That's kind of what we're doing, and we're beginning to see some tests of that, and that are really encouraging. I was thinking yesterday when we were kind of watching the bowl games, the bowl game, that you used to be a coach. I was talking to my friends about my good friend and partner down in Georgia, and I was telling them some of the funny stuff you've said that gets me laughing over the last month. And I was thinking, you used to be a coach, and I was, when you were up in my office, and we were kind of laying the groundwork, for everything that we've been doing together. I'll never forget you standing in front of the whiteboard and drawing out ideas and drawing, you were drawing arrows from idea to idea, and you're just a natural in front of a whiteboard and explaining things, graphically. And I could just picture you as a coach doing that. And so, what's your impression of the game yesterday as a former coach?
Yeah, I guess another reason I like Coach Reed's approach, he's been around. He's seen the ups and downs. He's dealt with them. He's had to create a core belief system that incorporates chaotic things that occur. And that was my thoughts last night. I said, I bet you that he has collectively, and even though it's a volatile world or a volatile market, I'm going to tell you, as a coach, our preparation and our research daily to improve and to drive forward is the reason that we talk all the time and have challenges and things that we are bouncing off of each other and sending each other files back and forth and stuff like that. And so it's the thing that I worry about is that so many people have believed in the just send the money and don't worry about it. We've got it allocated just right. That's an assumption as a football coach.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a football coach, but any coach, that the defense is going to have, they're never going to jump around. They're never going to change. It's always going to be the same. And unfortunately, the athletics and the stock market, we're fortunate that we have to play every day. Because even when we have bad experiences, we are challenged with doing the things or improving our models to get to that point. So I still coach every day. I still got my cap on and what have you. But and you also learn a lot about the importance of hard work, the importance of digging in and don't accepting. Difficulty is part of the equation.
Yep.
But not finding fault, but finding solutions are the things that drive us to do it. And lastly, I'll get off my soapbox, my coach here, get my hat back on.
Keep going.
Is that we put our own pennies exactly where we're recommending people. Our commitment is not, well, we're going to do this for you. You're going to do exactly what we do. And that to me is the proof that we've got a lot invested in this personally as well as, and that's why we're striving to keep good recommendations to you. And come there, I quit. Church is out. That's enough for me one day.
It's true. I've got all my money invested the way that we do this. I've got 3 different accounts, 2 different brokerage houses, and every penny of what I own is invested in one of the strategies that we report on. And the reason is because I believe in it. The second is I want to prove that what we do is valid. And one of the best ways to do that is to do it with real money. And so,
speaking of real money, we're coming up on almost a year of actual track record, and I like what I see. And, and it's proof positive. And
29 days to go, we'll have a full year.
And the secret is, hey, when the market goes down, we then really show you what we're capable of.
That's right.
That's enough.
Okay. All right. Let's remind ourselves, 2 weeks, we'll have another video up, and this time we'll be talking about the possible reasons that your account might differ from what we report in terms of our experience, both in our live accounts and in our models. There's a lot of good reasons that there could be variance, but if you're doing it the way that we do it, it shouldn't be more than a few basis points. We'll remind folks that we do send out weekly updates on all of our strategies, and if you're interested in that, go to Stone Barn Portfolios. There's a little pop-up that'll come up, and you can give us your name and email address, and we'll make sure that you're on the recipient list for that update. Love to have you join us and watch what we're doing every week. So, all right, my friend, good to talk to you. Here we go for another month. I'm looking forward to it. Love working with you, brother. Talk to you soon.
I'm in right here.
All righty. Sounds good.